What's up YouTube, it's Fridge here, and I'm going to deck profile my Lost World Dungeon Knight deck profile. Just letting you know it's like still in testing, someone actually requested it. So I figured I'll just throw it out what build I have now currently. I'm not 100% satisfied with it yet. I mean, I think it's because my friends actually just play a lot of hate cards that just kind of destroy this deck. But anyway, jumping into the deck profile, playing Vic as the buddy since he's like arguably the best buddy. Since you always want to call him every turn, and you abuse him with Ibo and all that jazz, so, you know, really good card. So, I'm currently trying out the 4 items again. I really hate playing 4 items because I really want to see them when I can, because if you don't have it, you basically lose. But, you know, with all the searching and drawing, in theory, you should be okay, but, you know, in practice, I just have bad RNG. But anyway, the theory is there anyway. So 4 items, basically the heart and soul of the deck. 4 Vict. His non-bouncing skill of your items isn't super relevant, but it comes up every now and again, depending on your metagame. But when he's called, if you have your 2 items, you draw 2. If you have 1, you draw 1. And you can give an item crit, so it's really good. And he's generic in that sense, so if you want to try him out in other things to be silly, go right ahead. 3 of the Zwaddles, or however you pronounce his name. He is anti-destruct on your turn, well, during both players' turns. You also can't be nullified in case that's relevant. But more so, he's just there to swing for big crits with your weapons. Unfortunately, this isn't the aggro build, so he doesn't get absurd amounts of crits like you would playing El Quixote and like Gao and Phila and friends. But it's still really solid. 3 of the lady, vampire lady from Miracle Fighters. She is amazing. A lot better than I thought she would be. She's a nice defensive card, but also she buffs your cards, and when your items attack, she burns for 1 and you gain 1 life, so you get more sustainability, more defense because she has move, and she does have penetrate, which is kind of handy since we don't play the El Quixote suite anymore. Yeah, and it's searchable off like Miracle Fighters, which is cool. And then playing 2 copies of Camille. I cut him out, tried it, didn't like it because I didn't see my items enough, so I bumped him up to 2. We're going with that for now. It's worked out okay over the years, so we'll just stick with running him. 3 Incubus searches your missions, which helps you search any adventurer, which is your items and just any other targets you might want, or, you know, like if you need a bonus quest target or something, you know. It's just really cool. And if you have Miracle Fighters, you can do some cheeky plays because it's a dungeon enemy. 1 Sophia, another basically an Incubus except for gauge cost instead of life. But sometimes her nullify ability monster, or ability of monsters that she's in battle with, comes up, especially in Soul Guard matchups, since she doesn't have to attack alone or anything. Slink attack, it's cool. 3 of the amazing new size 1 we got for adventurers. Sorry, I have like the hiccups kind of thing. Giltina, she has a really nice ability. She can be a boomerang dragon if she link attacks, which lets up some cheeky things with Ibo if you want to gain 4 life and 4 gauge in that turn. But also, on place, if you have an item equipped, you gain 2 gauge. If you have another adventure equipped, which was usually your item, you'll get 2 life, so 2 gauge, 2 life on call. Really cool, and it can come back to your hand without using Ibo, which is even cooler. And then 2 copies of Overturn and Spells because he is a really strong card. He can just win you games by himself, but unfortunately, whenever I Overturn Spells, my opponent just draws the nuts, and it just basically gets me killed. Anyway, he's also there because you play Lost World, and if you Lost World did and you have him out, you can draw 6, get 2 gauge for free without sending back all of your non-Lost World cards, because that's the ruling for him. Not sure why, but I guess it kind of makes sense. Since you don't have the other deck to shovel back to. But anyway, 4 party formed parties, however you want to call them. It's your searcher, and it lets you get to any adventure you want. 2 Ibos. Ibos are your attack extenders. It's the mission you always want on your field. Lets you do some really cheeky things. So since we don't play Phila and stuff, it doesn't get to do as many multi-attacks. So you're not killing your opponent as effectively anymore, since we're going for survivability now. But Ibo still lets you reuse, like I said, the Vict. You could reuse Gotinas, all that fun stuff. Or just, you know, call out your size 3 or size 2. If anything, I might consider bumping back the old El Quixote, not a fan of the new one. The one from Rainbow Striker, I really like that one more. 3 Unfreezings. Pot of Duality without any drawbacks, except for being once per turn, which is fair. 2 Hawkeyes, search your item, and you can get your Gotinas out of drop zone, or, you know, any other adventure monster, really. 1 Miracle Fighters. You can search your good buddy Miseria, because if you have the Incubus, as I mentioned, it's a dungeon enemy, and Miseria is a dungeon enemy. It's size 3, so it meets the conditions for Miracle Fighters, and yeah. You can also search the Vampire Lady as well. 3 bonus quests. I hate playing more than 2 of this card, but I really want to draw it so I can dig deeper for Lost World. So we play 3, and we have a good amount of size 2s and above. Playing 2 copies of Nintendo Switch over here, and it's playing 3. Can be a pretty awkward card because you don't always get full value, especially if you go first. You kind of just have it sitting in your hand unless you use it to pay 1 gauge draw a card, which I have done on multiple occasions, just try to dig for my item. But it is a really solid card overall because it can fetch you knights out of your drop zone if they end up dying, or, you know, stuck in your gauge and you pay the gauge and, you know, they're there. So pretty solid card overall. And then 4 deflections for shields. I prefer this now because it's free. It gets you more gauge if you need it. Not much to say about that. It's just a really good shield. And then I'm playing 2 Buddy Blocks, the promo for the month. Since this deck has the damage reduction, it inclines people to link attack, and you'll be hitting that 4 attack threshold more often than not because of that, since it counts just cards that attacked. And this way you can survive turns, because if your opponent can hit 4 attacks on you and they can still keep going, you're probably going to die, so this prevents you from dying. Shuts them out for that turn. And then 2 copies of Lost Road, because we want to see it and we can only play 2 copies. So Lost Road deck for Vanity, and because we're a stingy boy, we have 2 of the better Vanity. Didn't want to buy 4, rather spend my money on other things, and I can just borrow the other 2 if I need to. 3 Zathsiths is whatever, the on-call, nullify a monster, or nullify a card's ability and destroy it. One of the new thing from the secret pack, because he can call out cards from your drop zone. You could reuse this boy if you have the gauge, all that good stuff. So for now, we're still playing 2 Arrogates. I know Japan kind of cuts that card out now, but it's still a really solid card. Drawing into your shields is really nice, or your impact, you know, to get lethal. 3 dimension draws, because Graceful Charity's busted. Digging into your deck is really cool. Playing 1 of the Dimension Breeding. Solid card. I mean, you kind of need monsters, so it can be dead. Worst cases, you can just charge it off or discard it off of your dimension draw if you have to. But, you know, 2 gauge, 2 draw, 2 life. Pretty solid card. 2 dimension life streams in case your opponent plays a lot of life gain, or if you really need life. Either way, it's a good card. And then still playing 2 dimension revives. This is debatably getting cut out because of the new guy who can call stuff out of your drop zone anyway, but this can hit your non-Lost Road, Lost Vader, Lost whatever attribute cards, so you can use those other skills like Vict if you have none. And then 2 Dimension Absorbs, really good shield. Might play around with numbers here because it's interesting meta. 2 Dimension Mirrors, because Magic Cylinders for monsters is pretty strong, so especially if they're not like in Lost Road and they have to link attack to hit you, you can be reflecting back a lot of damage. And then 2 Vanity Cells to not dead impacts and just shield cards in general. And lastly, we're playing 2 of the 5 damage impact. It's costless, easy to get off. Pretty solid card overall, so yeah. Free killing is free killing. Alright, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys later.